gladly give the fact that the P30
Good day and welcome to this week's episode of your program, Infrastructure Weekly. I am your anchor, Aboseti Omowuyi. On this week's episode of the program, we will be taking you around project sites across Nigeria, from power to roads and housing. But before then, let's take this break before sailing off properly on the program. Stay tuned.
coming together of opportunities. And this is what
infrastructure is the backbone of development, which explains the Buhari government's effort at bridging the facility gap. Infrastructure Weekly is a television package designed to bring you latest information on hundreds of development projects going on in various sectors all over the nation.
there is no state in Nigeria today where you will not see our contractors busy at work.
Power generation, rural electrification, road rehabilitations, national housing scheme, construction of roads and rail lines across the country, you name it.
We are now able to produce 7,000 megawatt of power. That is no longer debatable.
Infrastructure Weekly is Nigerians working together for a better Nigeria. So be better informed to take better informed decisions. Watch Infrastructure Weekly, showing on Channels Television Thursdays 2:30 p.m., NTA Network Wednesdays 5 p.m., and QTV News Fridays at 8 p.m. Infrastructure Weekly, making development known.
To start off the program today, we'll take out from the famous and popular Sura Market on Simpson Street on Lagos Island in Lagos State. The Sura Shopping Complex or Market, as it is more popularly known, is the site of the pilot project of the federal government known as Energizing Economies, which is designed to provide power to small and medium-scale enterprises all over Nigeria. The MSMEs, according to the World Bank, represents the biggest simple source of employment generation for Nigeria and other sub-Saharan African countries. The program, according to the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, will take off in several major markets all over Nigeria, with Sura as a pilot scheme of the project. Other sites of the project include the famous Ariaria Market in Aba in Abia State, Sabongeri Market in Kano, and several others to follow soon. Join us as we go through the commissioning of the independent power project at Sura Market in Lagos.
This is Sura Market, on the site of the launch of the Energizing Economies initiative of the federal government under the Rural Electrification Agency. On hand to commission the independent power project to power over 1,000 shops in the complex is the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Yemi Osinbajo. The Vice President, who was greeted with cheers going round the complex, said the federal government will continue to work to increase and expand access to uninterrupted power for all Nigerians.
What we decided to do was to not rely entirely on the national grid for power, especially for businesses. So we have a project called the Energizing Economies project, where we're putting power, especially solar power, in business clusters all over the country. So Sura Market is one that we're commissioning today. And of course we've been in Sabongari Market, Ariaria Market in Aba, Isiko and Ondo, and all over the country.
For his part, the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, said the initiative is one that will help in expanding access and ensure the growth of business and commerce. He urged Nigerians to stick with a process that is taking them forward with uninterrupted power supply to major commerce centers across the country.
Everybody who is here will acknowledge that also with the franchises, we have moved the needle forward. Your generator time has reduced, your fuel consumption time has reduced, your public power supply has improved, but is not yet there, and there is still work to do. So I said to people, as you go next year into the election, you have a choice to make. This is now a choice between moving forward and going backwards.
He added that the Sura IPP is the first of many to come in the next few months. He also listed the benefits derived from the project.
The first item of significance is the testimony of the printers
the small shop sellers, the retail distributor, the tailors, that their businesses have just expanded. They have 24/7 electricity, and they're already now looking for expansion space. That's the first significance. Second significance is the number of generators that have been decommissioned. The third significance is the cost saving for some shop owners. People who bought 50 liters of diesel every week to power their businesses have not used that 50 liters for the last 2 months since this project started.
For her part, the managing director of the Rural Electrification Agency, Damilola Ogunbiyi, said the movement to uninterrupted power supply for all small businesses, by extension all Nigerians, has just started.
The most significant for REA is that working with private sector, what we have been speaking about this administration can work. You're seeing it working, and it's not government telling you, it's the people of the market, people are traders are telling you that they're getting better service and they're getting more power. Like His Excellency the Vice President has said, there's also trader money, loans. All these things are crafted to make the lives of ordinary Nigerians trying to do business better.
The ultimate beneficiaries of the project and shop owners in the market were ecstatic, describing it as a dream come true.
I can personally say I am grateful for this project. I am sure I speak the mind of a lot of our fellow shop and business owners whose experience of unstable power has been a nightmare and a serious hindrance to their businesses.
For his part, the contractor behind the project expresses willingness to continue to invest in Nigeria for off-grid power solution. He also thanked the federal government for making the project possible.
The federal government of Nigeria's role through the Rural Electrification Agency has been critical to the success of this project. From the initial provision of energy data to assistance with community engagement and permits, amongst many others. On behalf of SOLAD, we would like to thank our suppliers and partners, which include the Viatime management team and their board, and Computer Warehouse Group, their chairman, Mr. Philip Obioa, and their managing director, Mr. David Dada. Both our partner companies are here present today. Most importantly, I wish to express my profound gratitude to the federal government of Nigeria for selecting us to be part of the Energizing Economies initiative. We welcome the opportunity to partner with the federal government in establishing more projects such as SORA.
The project has also led to the decommissioning of over 700 generators in the market and less pollution, a situation that was met with approval and cheers as the Vice President went on an inspection and commissioning of the project.
Still staying with power supply and specifically the activities of vandals, the Transmission Company of Nigeria has commended the Katsina State Police Command for arresting 4 suspects in connection with the vandalism of its towers on the Katsina-Dora 132 kVA transmission line. The vandals, according to a statement by the General Manager Public Affairs of the company, Ndidi Mba, wreaked more havoc than previously thought. He called on members of the public to help in protecting its installation from the activities of vandals to ensure it achieves its target of a national grid of 20,000 megawatts by the year 2021. We will be back after this time out for a look at the road sector. Stay with us.
London, New York or Lagos, business or holiday, home or office. You can now carry out your tax transactions from anywhere in the world. You can now file all your tax returns, pay online, get a receipt and even process your tax clearance certificate from anywhere in the world online and in real time. All you need to do is log on to www.firs.gov.ng and click on e-services and be introduced to the world of innovation, convenience and transparency from the FIRS. You can also pay stamp duty as you register a new company with the CAC or for other transactions that require stamp duty payment online. You can also file your withholding tax returns and determine the withholding tax deducted from you is in government coffers so that you can get your receipt within 45 days as long as the deduction has been remitted. Yes, all of this and more online at www.firs.gov.ng/e-services. FIRS, making tax administration as easy as ABC. Please note that all FIRS services are free of charge. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service. It pays to pay your tax.
And the road will collapse.
If you were just joining us, the program is Infrastructure Weekly. You can get in touch with us on Facebook at facebook.com/Infrastructure Weekly and on Twitter at Infra_Weekly. We move now to the road sector, where the federal government has again restated its commitment to the development of roads to boost commerce. Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, disclosed this while inspecting the Section 2 of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway from Shagamu Interchange to Ojo and in Ibadan.
Many persons have reportedly died along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway in recent years. The series of death and traffic congestion on the ever-busy road results from accidents caused by bad infrastructure. It was a national issue that even those who were not directly affected felt the pain indirectly because it posed a high level of fear and threats to life. Since 2015, the government under President Muhammadu Buhari, according to the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has expended about $9 billion for the construction, reconstruction, rehabilitation of strategic roads and other infrastructure across the country. The Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is not left out in these national developments.
People must remember that we're building an old road. We're reconstructing it while commuters use it. It would have been quicker if we can shut it down, but we can't. So we have to do traffic management. We have to transport materials from distances here in through the same traffic and to create a work site around here. And so some of these are logistic challenges that people have to bear with us. But without a doubt, as you drive through week after week, month after month over the last 3 years, you will see that sections are being completed and the driving experience is getting better.
Travel time has drastically reduced as work is still ongoing on the Lagos-Ibadan Road projects. This has also increased efficiency in the movement of goods, persons and services across the country, as well as boost investments and create jobs.
Today, you can plan to go to Ibadan from Lagos or plan to come to Lagos from Ibadan and know that definitely you can get back the same day. 4 years ago, sometimes people used to sleep on this road. So it's getting better slowly and it will improve now. The weather is easing off. So before Christmas again, we will gain a lot of traction because the weather will help. To mix the asphalt, you need dry weather. You can't mix asphalt in the rain. If you do, you can't lay it in the rain. So these are some of the challenges, but we're on our way.
Reynolds Construction Company is handling Section 2 from Shagamu to Ibadan and extending 2 bridges, kilometers 71 and 74 at Fidiwo and Foursquare. In addition, the company will install pedestrian bridges, street lights and underpasses in some parts of the road. While Julius Berger is handling Section 1 from Shagamu to Lagos with the length of 48 kilometers. It will also construct a large interchange at the Redeemed Church access to tackle the huge traffic created by a large number of people who gather every week to worship. Every improvement ongoing on the road will make traffic to become more pleasant and enjoyable as it leads to enhanced security on the Nigerian economy.
Traditionally, you don't build major highways with concrete drains. But because the character of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway has changed significantly, we just passed Christopher University. We have places of worship. We have factories and so many things that have altered the use and density of traffic here. They have also altered the natural drain into the streams. So we now have to be building concrete drains to control the flow of water. Otherwise, this road will not last. So you are seeing also now concrete drains on this road. Other things that will come with this road are new interchanges to ease the circulation of traffic, to deal with the density, especially to create separate lanes for those going to places of worship. And what you are going to be seeing on this road, which wasn't part of the original design in the 70s, are pedestrian overhead bridges, because many more people now do business on both sides of the road, which was not there 40 years ago. So all of this is still work in progress while we are dealing with the main carriageway.
Considering the effect of rainfall on major roads in the country, the federal government plans to intervene on 41 major roads. This includes the rehabilitation of Benue-Makudi, Southeast roads and others that have been affected by the impacts of flooding. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, discloses that the intervention is aimed at getting contractors to site even as the country moves towards the end of the year, so as to ease traffic while construction works are ongoing.
We have started nationwide too an assessment of all of the places that were affected by flooding. So before the end of November, we're going to do some emergency procurement and come and intervene nationwide. While that flooding was going on, we were taking note, we were collecting records. For the first time, Nigeria has at least some money in its budget now for emergency response. That was not there before. That is change. So now we will use some of that money to respond across those states, Kogi, Edo, Delta, Niger, and many other states that were impacted by flooding.
Since the inception of this administration, there has been an increase in capital spending to about 30% compared to 10% earlier. This increased spending contributes to bridging the infrastructure deficit and boosting the nation's GDP through enhanced local content in Nigerian road construction. The first 3 years of this present government have witnessed a drastic reduction in the number of stalled road projects and the commencement of new ones all over the country.
The federal government has approved the award of the Lagos-Badagry-Seme border road project for the sum of 63 billion naira. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, disclosed this after the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja.
I'd like to continue from where Honorable Minister for Finance stopped. Apart from the funding for the Lagos-Abidjan corridor, my ministry presented a memorandum for the award of the Lagos-Badagry Seme border road for rehabilitation and reconstruction of sections of it. It's a total of 46 kilometers. That excludes the part under contract by the Lagos State government from Eric Moore to Okokomaiko. Council approved 46 kilometers from Agbara through to Seme border. And out of that 46 kilometers, 24 kilometers will be 6 lanes and 22 kilometers will retain the current 4 lanes without expansion but with reconstruction and rehabilitation. Contract price was 63.023 billion. Just for clarity, the funding on this road is part of the Lagos-Abidjan highway corridor. So the Nigerian section is the Lagos, Eric Moore to Badagry to Seme border. So we are constructing our part. Ghana has done theirs. I think Ivory Coast has done theirs. Togo and Benin have something in place, but some of them have to move because of coastal erosion by the Atlantic. And how to reintegrate all of that is part of the studies that were being funded by the African Development Bank, and also how to ensure single and efficient border controls. We also presented and got approval for the Gwazo-Karaye 20-kilometer section of the Gwazo to Kwana-Dangora-Karaye highway in Kano. The price of that is 1,029 million naira.
Do get in touch with us on any of the social media handles showing on your screen. Join us after this break as we head for the home stretch with a visit to the National Housing Site in Delta State. Don't go away.
Coming together of opportunities, and this is what
infrastructure is the backbone of development, which explains the Buhari government's effort at bridging the facility gap. Infrastructure Weekly is a television package designed to bring you latest information on hundreds of development projects going on in various sectors all over the nation.
There is no state in Nigeria today where you will not see our contractors busy at work.
Power generation, rural electrification, road rehabilitations, national housing scheme, construction of roads and rail lines across the country, you name it.
We are now able to produce 7,000 megawatt of power. That is no longer debatable.
Infrastructure Weekly is Nigerians working together for a better Nigeria. So be better informed to take better informed decisions. Watch Infrastructure Weekly, showing on Channels Television Thursdays 2:30 p.m., NTA Network Wednesdays 5 p.m., and Core TV News Fridays at 8 p.m. Infrastructure Weekly, making development known.
As the pilot phase of the National Housing Program gradually draws to its conclusion in most states of the Federation, Infrastructure Weekly took a tour of the site. Join us on the journey.
The National Housing Program, which took off simultaneously in 34 states across the country in January 2017, would be the second real attempt after Shagari's administration's low-cost housing scheme by the federal government to address housing challenges facing the country. This initiative of the President Muhammadu Buhari administration is a pilot phase consisting of 1, 2, 3 bedroom flats, including 3-story buildings, and government is willing to make it affordable and accessible to Nigerians.
When we finish that, that is when you will then know how much the entire building costs, how much it costs for a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3, and then we put it out. So by the time that committee finishes its work, we will certainly make public what our quantifications are in terms of cost and in terms of price. You know, of course, that the change that we must also have is the change that moves people away from buying houses as if they were going to buy fish in the market. You just pay for everything at once. That's not how it works in other societies. Your payment period is spread over some time, usually your working life.
The 2016 National Housing Program has generated about 64,000 jobs and is still generating more across the nation. Implementation of the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, as well as subsequent inspection of projects by the Minister of Power Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, is sustaining improvements on construction works and boosting the social welfare of the people. This present government, apart from addressing housing deficits in the country by injecting over 2,000 housing units, has succeeded in reducing unemployment across the nation.
You will see that we have tried to improve the quality because we build it for people who are lower in income. Doesn't mean that it has to be badly built. This is the quality of life. When President Buhari said in the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan that he will invest in the Nigerian people, this is part of what it means. That it will give you a quality of life that lifts you up. So because it's for low-income people, doesn't mean it has to be badly built. And you will see me every time I'm inspecting, I'm asking my team, we must change the standard. Now, but this is our first entry into the market. Over the next few years, we have a research and development department who will continue to advise us where we made mistakes, how to change things. Just like you will take your tape back and you will sit down with your editor now, you will edit it. And that's how we will continue to improve.
The program is meant to improve the feasibility and practicability of developing houses with high low content for the state and private sector operators to emulate. It is being implemented in collaboration with the state within the context of the social inclusion, job creation and youth empowerment, as well as improve human capital development objectives of the ERGP.
State governments say many indigents of their state have benefited from the program through direct and indirect employment opportunities.
The housing project, as you have heard, is going smoothly, and the minister just asked for more land, so they will do more. So I guarantee you will have all the land you want. And we thank you for the project and considering us among the states that you want to increase the level of the project. We thank you.
The National Housing Program is also designed for the integration of persons living with disabilities through inclusive building designs with ramps for mobility and interaction. This administration considered it necessary to empower Nigerian contractors, suppliers, and artisans working on housing sites across the 34 states in the country through the implementation of the local content policy.
It's a scheme for social housing for the less privileged, for people that you could call disadvantaged, one way or the other.
We even need federal government to do more for us so that our people, our boys, have work to do. Some of us are hard, but they are carrying us along. We still have more many tax here. We need them. No, just extend it. From the extending, we would get more work, more jobs.
According to the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, letters have been forwarded to all state governors in the country to provide land for the second phase of the program.
That's all on this week's episode of Infrastructure Weekly. Do also join us again next week for another interesting episode of the program. Until then, be a good citizen and support the infrastructure agenda of the Buhari administration. Lastly, pay your tax. Let's continue the conversation on the social media handles showing on your screen. I am your anchor, Abosede Omawi. Bye for now.
Bring all the traffic